Imagine two teams. Same skills, same resources, same mission. One team shows up every day energized. They trust each other completely. They fight for each other. When things get hard, they get closer. The other team shows up scared. Watching. Their backs. Playing politics. When things get hard, they fall apart. What is the difference? It is not talent. It is not strategy. It is not even leadership skill. It is whether the people feel safe. Simon Sinek spent years studying the most cohesive teams and organizations in the world, and what he found starts with a simple but radical idea. The best leaders eat last. Chi. Title comes from a real observation. In the United States Marine Corps, the most junior Marines eat first. The officers eat last, not because of a rule, not because they were told to, because that is what leadership means. You put the people in your care before yourself, always, and Sinek says, this one simple act changes everything about how a team functions. When people know their leader has their back, they stop worrying about themselves and start focusing on the mission. That is the difference between a team and just a group of people with the same job title. But here is where it gets fascinating. This is not just philosophy. This is biology. Sinek introduces 4 chemicals that run almost everything we feel at work. And once you understand these, you will never see your workplace the same way. Again. Chemical 1. Endorphins. These mask physical pain. They are why you feel good after exercise, why pushing through something hard feels rewarding. In a work context, endorphins keep us going when things are difficult. They reward effort. Chemical 2. Dopamine. This is the feeling you get when you finish a task. Hit a goal. Check something off a list. Dopamine is individual. It is about personal achievement, and it is highly addictive. This is why social media likes feel so good, and why you keep checking your phone. Dopamine hit every single time. Chemical 3. Serotonin. This is the leadership chemical. Serotonin flows when you feel respected, valued, proud. When someone acknowledges your contribution, when you feel seen by people you respect, that warm feeling is serotonin. And here is the critical part. Serotonin flows not just in the person being recognized, but also in the person doing the recognizing. And even in the people who witness it, which means when a leader genuinely celebrates someone on their team, everyone in the room feels better. One act of recognition, 3 times the chemical reward. That is not soft leadership. That is science. Chemical 4. Oxytocin. This is the most powerful one. Sinek calls it the love chemical. Oxytocin flows when you feel genuine trust, deep connection, real friendship. It is released through physical touch, a handshake, a hug, but also through acts of generosity, genuine kindness, vulnerability. And here is what makes oxytocin so powerful. It builds trust. It creates loyalty. It makes people willing to sacrifice for each other. The teams that would run through a wall for each other are oxytocin-rich environments, and the leaders who create those environments are the ones who give first. Trust first, sacrifice first, not because they have to, because they choose to. Now, here is where it gets dangerous. There are also 2 chemicals that destroy teams. Cortisol, the stress chemical. When people feel unsafe, when they fear their boss, when they worry about being blamed or fired, cortisol floods their system. And cortisol does not just feel bad. It shuts down the very chemicals that make teams great. You cannot feel oxytocin, the trust chemical, when cortisol is running, which means a fearful workplace. is chemically incapable of building real trust. Think about that. Every leader who rules through fear believes they are getting results. But what they are actually doing is chemically preventing their team from ever performing at its highest. Level fear and greatness cannot coexist. Sinek introduces a concept here that stopped me completely. He calls it the circle of safety. Great leaders create a circle, an invisible boundary. Inside that circle, people feel safe, protected, valued. Inside the circle, people take risks, share ideas, admit mistakes, help each other, because they know the leader has their back. The dangers, the competition, the external threats are outside the circle, not inside it. But here is what most leaders get wrong. They treat their own people like the threat. They create internal competition, foster distrust, play favorites, blame publicly, and suddenly, the enemy is not outside. The enemy is in the room, and no team can fight two wars at the same time, the external one and the internal one. Now think about your own experience. Think about the best boss you ever had. What made them different? Was it their intelligence, their strategy, their technical skill, or was it the way they made you feel? Safe, valued, like you could fail and they would still have your back. Now think about the worst boss you ever had. What made them damaging? Probably not stupidity. Probably not incompetence. Probably the way they made you feel, watched, judged, expendable. The difference between the best and worst leader you have known is almost never about skill. It is almost always about how they made people feel, and that is completely within every leader's control. Sinek then makes an argument that most corporations do not want to hear. He says, the rise of shareholder-first culture is destroying the very thing that makes companies great. When leaders are rewarded for quarterly results, they start making decisions that boost numbers now at the expense of people, layoffs to hit targets, cutting training budgets, treating employees as costs, not as assets, and short-term, the numbers look better. Long-term, the trust is gone, the culture is broken, and the best people leave. Because here is the truth. People are not resources. People are not costs. People are the reason any company exists at all. And the leader who forgets that will eventually build a company full of people who are just waiting to leave. And here is the most powerful idea in the book. Leadership is not a rank. Leadership is not a title. Leadership is not a salary. Leadership is a choice. The choice to put the people in your care before yourself. You do not need a corner office to lead. You do not need a team of 100 to lead. Every single day, in every interaction, you choose. Do I look out for myself first? Or do I look out for the person in front of me first? That choice, repeated consistently over time, is what separates a manager from a leader, a boss from someone people would follow anywhere, and a team that survives from a team that wins. 1 year from now, the people around you will either feel safer because you are in their lives, or they will feel exactly the same. Leadership does not require a title. It does not require a promotion. It just requires one decision, made consistently. Put them first, and watch what happens to everything around you.